Ladies, gentlemen, boys, girls, in, out, and in betweeners. It's me, Dan, and welcome back to another PAP Reports. The bad bits. A misconduct hearing for 6 Hampshire police staff. Detective Inspector Timothy Ierson, Detective Sergeant Oliver Laggy, whatever. Detective Sergeant Gregory Wilcox, trainee Detective Constable Andrew Ferguson, PC James Oldfield, and former PC Craig Bannerman, who all worked for the Force's Serious and Organised Crime Unit, had commenced last week on Monday in what is estimated to be a 3-week-long hearing after the accused were covertly recorded using racist, sexist and homophobic language amid a toxic and abhorrent culture within their specialist team. All of the accused face gross misconduct charges which could see them all dismissed from Hampshire Police Force. Comments where women were referred to as sluts, sugar tits and sweet tits were recorded, with the group also describing another colleague's partner as an absolute whore. Among the misogyny, they also suggested that Albanian nationals should be shot or even killed with a nerve agent and that illegal immigrants deserve the death sentence. In one incident, a black officer was accused of being flown to England from Africa in a crate and taken to London Zoo while Bob Marley's Buffalo Soldier was sung in the background. Jason Beer, QC, representing Hampshire Constabulary, said the other remarks included that the unit's only black officer had forged documents from Nigeria using the racist stereotype that people from Nigeria are fraudsters. It was a unit that was racist. A black officer is described as a pavement special, i.e. a mixed breed dog. The group also allegedly used highly offensive homophobic and transphobic language, including one who was recorded saying horrible tranny fucker, which Mr. Beer said was never challenged or reported. He added that the toxic and abhorrent culture was inconsistent with the values and standards of the police service in the 21st century. The covert recording was made between 9th of March 2018 and 2nd of April 2018, following an anonymous complaint to a whistleblowing service. Detective Inspector Tim Ierson, who was in charge of the unit, said last week that he had a fear of repercussions if he reported or challenged the unit's behaviour. The proceedings have also raised concerns about the relationship between Mr. Ierson and Detective Sergeant Gregory Wilcox, who joined the force together in 1993. It's been argued that Mr. Ierson did not manage DS Wilcox appropriately and allowed him to use offensive language. Trainee Detective Constable Jean Englefield, who joined the Serious Organised Crime Unit in November 2014, said during the investigation this whole situation has arisen through poor leadership. The culture in a team derives from its leaders, and DS Wilcox was the leader of the team. Mr. Ierson was the DI and he allowed himself to be led by DS Wilcox and did not set the tone correctly when he joined the team. When questioned, Mr. Ierson said that there were positive and negative aspects to having a friendship with DS Wilcox. All 6 scumbags deny gross misconduct. The hearing is being held at Hampshire Police's headquarters in Eastleigh and is being live streamed to a small number of journalists and members of the public for them to watch at Hope Church in Winchester. Ahead of the hearing, a Hampshire Constabulary spokesperson said it is alleged that the breaches of the standards of professional behaviour outlined are so serious that if proven, dismissal would be justified, and as such it is alleged that the behaviour amounts to gross misconduct. All I can say is that it's about time some of the police who still have some integrity started reporting wrongdoings. The police force is supposed to be respected and trusted institution, but is turning into a cesspit of sociopaths and narcissists. The only way to get this cleared up is by the other police doing the right thing. Well done to whoever reported them. Let's hope others pick up where this complaint left off and we start to hear about more of these cretinous cunts being taken out. Now this one brings a whole new meaning to the phrase, choking your chicken. 37-year-old Rayhan Baig from Shepherd Street, Bradford, is a foul man, as is his wife, as both were complicit in the crime of bestiality. That's the crime of fucking. Yes, this filthy piece of shit pleaded guilty to having sex with chickens, possessing images of himself and his wife engaging in sex acts with a dog, and making indecent images of children while his dirty bitch wife, 38-year-old Halima, filmed the action. The arrests came after the National Crime Agency raided their home after a tip-off that they were in possession of child pornography. computer equipment was seized from the house and 49 indecent images of children were found, including 11 in Category A, some of which featured children as young as 6. Investigators also found a significant quantity of extreme pornographic images, including a number of first-generation homemade movies featuring Mr. Bake and occasionally his wife engaging in sexual activity with animals, and saved under the file name, get this, family videos. Some of the images featured the couple engaging in sex acts with a dog, while others of some duration and length were of Mr. Bake performing intercourse with chickens, and also on occasions with his wife, who filmed some of the footage on a mobile phone. Now, you may be wondering why this story is included in this report. It doesn't seem to appear to feature any bent coppers or abuse by those in public office. So what's going on, Pap? Well, the reason this one has been added to the files is because of the shit cunt judge and his incredibly lenient sentence, in my opinion, for such an abhorrent and immoral offence. Judge Richard Mansell QC, sitting at Bradford Crown Court, said the acts would make any right-thinking member of society sick to their stomach and were carried out for Mr. Bake's own depraved sexual gratification. He added that Mr. Bake's offending was depraved, perverted and despicable, and said the creation of the videos was simply beyond comprehension. The court was told that some images showed dead chickens on the floor in their cellar and a video which showed the vile piece of shit fucking a dead chicken. Judge Mansell said the pain and suffering you inflicted on these animals must have been horrific. Mrs. Bake admitted 3 counts of aiding and abetting sexual intercourse with an animal, but said it was against the background of coercive and controlling behaviour by her husband. Sure it was. Mr. Bake admitted 3 counts of making indecent images of children, 3 counts of possession of extreme pornography, 3 counts of sexual intercourse with an animal, and 2 counts of possession of controlled drugs. Mrs. Bake was given a 6-month sentence, suspended for 18 months with a requirement to attend 20 days rehab. She was also placed on the sex offenders register for 7 years. Mr. Sick Cunt, although received a custodial sentence, was jailed for 3 years, banned from keeping pets and placed on the sex offenders register for life. 3 fucking years for fucking chickens to death. The Sick Cunt needs to be locked up forever. He clearly cannot live in a civilised society, and I think the judge needs to fucking join him. A teacher who was jailed indefinitely in 2011 for 36 sexual offences, including attempted rape of a child and sexual assault, is due to be released after just 9 years. Nigel Leet even filmed assaults on 5 girls at Hillside First School in Weston-super-Mare, Somerset. Indefinite sentences, or IPPs, which were sentences of imprisonment for public protection, allowed some of the sickest and most dangerous people whose crimes were serious but didn't quite merit a life sentence to be locked up for an indeterminate length of time, only to be released when the dangers to the public had been overcome or passed. IPPs were introduced by the Criminal Justice Act in 2003 and started to be used in 2005, but in 2011 they were reviewed after it became clear that they were being abused. I've spoken about IPPs back in April last year and again just 2 weeks ago when we mentioned Jason Dunn, who was given an IPP 15 years ago for stealing a mobile phone and is still in jail. Anyway, Nigel Leet clearly didn't do anything quite as serious as stealing somebody's mobile phone. He just sexually assaulted some kids. Clearly, in the judge's eyes, a much lesser crime than theft. Leet is said to be awaiting housing, and if it becomes available next month, he could be released. Papers detailing the parole board decision said, after considering the circumstances of his offending, the progress made in custody and the other evidence presented at the hearings, the panel was satisfied that Mr. Leet was suitable for release when accommodation becomes available in November 2020. Leet molested girls as young as 6 years old as they practised their reading aloud in class and also forced them to perform sex acts on him. In his video of the assault, Leet could be heard referring to the children as sweetie pie and darling before asking them how much they loved him. Police discovered around 30,500 indecent photos and 720 indecent videos in Leet's possession when he was arrested. Although when released he will be subject to so-called strict limitations on his contacts, movements and activities. Because we all know just how well the police keep track of criminals in this country, don't we? I mean, this is sickening. how someone who clearly is a danger to the public is allowed out after 9 years, but a mobile phone thief is still serving time and now suffering severe mental health issues as a result. Now, do you remember this naughty little Tory? Dover MP Charlie Elphicke, who was found guilty of being a bit of a pervert after convictions for sexual assault on one woman in 2007 and another in 2016. A ruling this year with which the judge branded Elphicke a sexual predator who used his success and respectability as a cover before handing him a 2-year sentence. Well, now Elphicke has lodged an appeal which was confirmed by a spokesman for the Judicial Office, who said, "It is confirmed that an appeal application has been received. There isn't yet a date for the appeal to take place." Charlie Elphicke's wife, Tory MP Natalie, announced just after the ruling that she was leaving Charlie Boy, but said she would stand by him to appeal the convictions, calling the 2 years he received excessive. I mean, I'm not quite so sure it is excessive. Someone in a position of trust, such as that of an MP, should be held to a much higher standard than a normal member of the public. Although everyone should still be treated equally under the law, in that anyone who commits a proven sexual offence should, in my opinion, be locked up and taught that it is not acceptable, I do believe that different time frames should reflect standings in community. A 27-year-old ex-household cavalry soldier responsible for protecting the Queen was jailed last week for sexually assaulting 2 6-year-old girls. Oliver Cooper carried out his acts while acting as a Beaver Scout leader. West Sussex Safeguarding Investigation Unit detectives started to investigate Cooper after a child came forward 2 years ago to say that she had been touched sexually by Cooper. He was arrested, and indecent images and videos of children getting undressed in private were found on his phone and on his laptop. During the investigation, a second child came forward to make another allegation about the sick fucko. Detective Constable Reese Hopcroft from Sussex Police said the young girls involved showed tremendous bravery throughout the investigation and were supported by specially trained officers. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Cooper continued to protest his innocence and thus forced the victims to give evidence, which was done via a video link in the court. In sentencing, Judge Stephen Mooney commented on Cooper's lack of remorse and the colossal breach of trust involved. Prior to his scouting role, he was a law student at Sussex University and a soldier in the Household Cavalry, where he served for 4 years in the UK. Cooper from Hopton in Staffordshire was found guilty of 2 counts of sexual assault on a girl aged 6, sexual assault on another girl also aged 6, 1 count of taking indecent photographs of a child, and 13 counts of voyeurism. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison at Lewes Crown Court on October the 15th. Will be on the sex offenders register for life, and was also given a sexual harm prevention order to last until further court notice, restricting his access to children, and was disqualified from working with children and vulnerable people for life. 59-year-old Cheshire Police Constable Bryn Majid has been handed a 20-month prison sentence, not suspended, by Liverpool Crown Court after admitting and being found guilty of attempting to engage in sexual activity with a child and 3 counts of downloading indecent images of a child. On Friday the 23rd of October, Liverpool Crown Court heard how Majid struck up an online friendship with what he thought was a 12-year-old girl in February, but was in fact talking to an undercover police constable. It's also heard how Majid sent a picture of his, no doubt, tiny shriveled cock. The utter fuck knuckle was so stupid he even used the online name Copper762. Kyra Badman, prosecuting, said they began speaking on the Kick Messenger app where Majid used the name Copper762. Majid, who was a custody investigation officer at the time, would initially engage in general chat with the girl before making the conversation more sexually explicit as the months wore on. On April the 17th, he sent a picture of himself in a work environment along with a 2-second clip in which he winks at the camera. On April the 21st, Majid said, "Can I ask something of you? Can I ask to see what you look like? No pressure though, not if you don't feel comfortable." He then asked her to move to chat on Skype, where they continued messaging, and he said he would like to meet up with her. Miss Badman explained that he had described himself as a big softie and said if they met up they could hold hands, and said he would show her how to kiss. In Skype video calls, he would wave, blow kisses and attempt to voice chat. Ms. Badman also explained he told her how to perform a sex act on herself, suggesting that she try it. She told the court he also told the girl, "I'm going to send you a kick pic of what I'm eventually going to put in you." The court also heard how Majid of Old Coach Road, Runcorn, said any meeting would be their little secret. Said he'd like to see her and asked her to send pictures to his email address saying that he would love to see her boobs. On April the 24th, he even told the girl that he couldn't wait for lockdown to be lifted so he could meet her. It was said that Majid asked the undercover cop, who he believed to be a 12-year-old named Jess, if she would tidy his house in her underwear or nude and that he would pay her. It was then that he sent 3 images of him standing in work with his knob out, and even sent her a link to a porn video of a man in his 60s engaged in sexual activity with a girl described as being between 16 and 20. On the 1st of May, police went to a house on Howell Road in Widnes where they seized a Dell laptop and an iPhone, discovering the images which include 24 of child rape. Some of the images involve children as young as 5 or 6. In an interview on June the 26th, he admitted the images were his, but said he never had any intention to touch a child. It was all part of his online fantasy that began in 2010. Stephen McNally, defending, said he is of previous good character, more than that, of previous positive good character. He served as a police officer for many years and served the public on a positive capacity. Oh, fucking course he was a previous good character. Aren't they always? All that literally means to these scumbags' victims is that they haven't been caught before, but certainly doesn't mean they were of good fucking character. He said it was with huge regret that he has not only brought shame and embarrassment to him and his family, but to the police service and his friends and colleagues in it. Oh, boo fucking who? Farm your fucking river. The only regret these sickos have is the regret of being caught. McNally explained Majid has begun to address the underlying issues behind his behaviour by reaching out to the Safer Lives group in Leeds. McNally said it demonstrates not only his remorse, but his efforts he is making to address those issues. No fucking no. It demonstrates that he will do whatever it takes to avoid a custodial sentence and nothing else. Judge Dennis Watson QC said he accepted the submission that there was never an intention to meet, although Majid admitted saying it. So although Majid said he wanted to meet, the judge believed that this perverted cunt wouldn't have actually met. Get the fuck out of here. Judge Watson did, however, hand Majid a 20-month prison sentence and an order that will see Majid sign a sex offenders register for 10 years. He was also made subject of a sexual harm prevention order that must run for 10 years also. The judge also ordered the devices seized by police to be forfeited and destroyed. Excellent to the judge. Dirty pedo bastard, 65-year-old Michael Libby, who had already been given a 4-month suspended sentence and a sexual harm prevention order in 2018 after police found 22 child abuse images of children as young as 5 on his computer after a tip-off, has escaped jail again after breaching his sexual harm prevention order. Libby was in front of the courts this time for breaching his order by destroying a laptop, meaning that the police were unable to check its contents. Even though, under his order, he must make available any electronic devices for police for inspection. Libby pleaded guilty to the breach of his order and also admitted breaching his suspended sentence and failing to comply with a notification requirement. The judge said that owing to the defendant's very poor health, he could not see the benefit of sending him to jail for a few weeks. He said the fact is that in destroying a computer, the police didn't have the opportunity to check whether you had been doing anything unlawful with it. The court is not sentencing you on the basis that you must have been doing something unlawful on that computer, but you robbed the police the chance of checking. Judge Ashurst handed Libby of Abingdon Road, Easington, a 2-year community order with 30 rehabilitation activity requirement days. He also fined him £150 for breaching his suspended sentence. Judge Ashurst added, if you commit another offence over the next 2 years or you don't do as probation tell you, you will find yourself in prison. Yes, Judge, and I'm sure you really mean it too. Oddly, it seems that these cretinous cunts are finding their way not only into our police forces, but now more so in the armed forces. We've just spoke about 27-year-old ex-household cavalry soldier Oliver Cooper, and that's the Queen's bodyguards, by the way, who abused 2 6-year-old girls that we know of, whilst acting as a Beaver Scout leader. Now we have 46-year-old former soldier John Hoy, who was part of the Queen's Guards at Balmoral. Now, I know it's only 2 cases, but there seems to be a pattern emerging here. In fact, I spoke about another Queen's Guard some weeks ago who was found with Class B and Class A drugs. Anyway, let's get back to this vile piece of shit. John Hoy carried out what's been called a spree of sexual crimes in Edinburgh, repeatedly raping 2 girls and indecently assaulting a 3rd. It's been said that this shit cunt was only 12 when he began to commit sexual crimes against younger children. Hoy's first victim was aged 9 when he began molesting her in 1986, and she went on to suffer years of abuse, continuing after he joined the army in 1992. The victim told the court that she was regularly sexually assaulted and raped, and added, "I was a little girl, I was scared, I was living in terror some days." She said that on occasions the attacker told her, "Shh, it'll be quick." Another woman who was abused by Hoy from the age of 7 in 1988 told the court, "I didn't have a childhood. My childhood was taken from me." She said that on one occasion Hoy abused her in an agonising way that left her bleeding. She said it felt like red hot pain. She said she was begging him to stop. The woman said she also suffered excruciating pain during abuse he perpetrated and told the court, "I got told to shut up. I was crying." The 3rd victim was indecently assaulted by him over a 4-year period, beginning in January 1989 when she was 9. The abuse started during a game of hide and seek. Hoy obviously denied the charges and said that the thought of it made him feel physically sick. In a plea to persuade the jury, he said, "Nobody in this room or in that room," because the jury were housed in a separate room, "knows what it's like to be accused of these allegations. It completely destroys a person. It is not just me it destroys, it is other people." Yeah, well, it's not like fucking a child will destroy their lives, is it, Hoy, you filthy cunt? However, even with all his pretense, the jury found him guilty of a total of 11 offences, 4 of rape, 2 of indecent assault, and 5 of indecent conduct. Hoy has been listed to reappear next month for sentencing after Judge Lady Scott told him, "You have been convicted of a number of offences of a very serious course of conduct involving sexual abuse and rape of children." Lady Scott told jurors, "You have been involved in a particularly difficult and serious case involving a large number of charges relating to historical sexual abuse. These are harrowing cases to try." In the interim, Hoy has been placed on the sex offenders register. Personally, in the interim, I would place him hanging from a fucking lamppost by his neck. And if he's still alive next month for sentencing, sentence him. If not, save the taxpayers some fucking money. Very big thank you to every single one of the channel supporters, especially our Patreon supporters. Your support is truly appreciated. And that's it for today's Too Much for YouTube. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts, as I know many of you will. And until next time, please stay safe, look after each other, film the police and always other officials. Good night, all. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. If you like the content and you'd like to help support the channel, you can do so. In the description of every video there are some links to ways that you're able to help support the channel so I can continue putting out content. If you're unable to help us in that way, hit that subscribe button up the top there. If you haven't already, become a subscriber. That is support enough. Share the videos, comment, like, it all helps. If you're looking for something else to watch, up top there is my latest video. Down the bottom there is a video that YouTube recommends for you.